The Coach's Corner is your source. Baseball, football, soccer, and hoops. The Coach's Corner has the scoop. It's the Coach's Corner with Andy.
Covering Tri-State sports, it's the Coach's Corner with Andy on 92.1 The GOAT.
It's the Coach's Corner.
Here are your Washington County, Maryland football scores from this past weekend, courtesy of the Herald-Mail. Boonsboro took down Williamsport 35-14. Parker DeBall of Boonsboro had 3 touchdown runs. Russell Collier ran for a pair of scores, and the visiting Warriors improved to 4-1 with a win over Williamsport 3-2. North Hagerstown took down Smithsburg 34-7, and the Hubs ground down the Leopards, who are now 0-5, with their running game to give first-year head coach Nathan Butts his first victory. Smithsburg recovered North's onside kickoff to start the game and marched 55 yards on the strength of 3 completions from Carter Nesbitt to Alex Bakedel. The third one covered 24 yards to the end zone for a 7-0 lead less than 3 minutes into the game. But then the Hubs took over from there. Their offensive line consistently opened holes for all of their running backs. North finished with 322 rushing yards. Amari Murray and Chris Benford each had an interception for the Hubs. Thomas Johnson beat South Hagerstown in a overtime thriller where Randy Embry threw a 6-yard touchdown pass to Jamar Turpin in overtime to give the Patriots 2-3 a walk-off win over the host, the South Hagerstown Rebels, now 1-4. South broke a scoreless tie late in the third quarter as Michael Owens Jr. passed to Kahari Alford for a 40-yard touchdown. Thomas Johnson then returned the ensuing kickoff to the end zone to tie the game and took over from there. Albert Gallatin 41, Clear Spring 21. The Blazers, now 3-2, suffered their second straight loss, falling on the road to the Colonials, who are now 4-3 of Uniontown, Pennsylvania. For Clear Spring, Hayden Hodge threw 2 touchdown passes and went 3 for 3 on extra point kicks. Joseph Torres and Will Bennett each had a touchdown catch, and Alex Matthews ran for 1 score. Clay Battle took on Hancock, came out 35-13, and Aiden McCarty rushed for a touchdown and threw a touchdown pass to Sean Thomas for the visiting Panthers, who are now 1-4, and their loss to the Seabees, now 2-3. Here are your Franklin County, Pennsylvania football scores from this past weekend, courtesy of the Public Opinion. The James Buchanan Rockets lost their second straight game Friday, 55-0 to the Steel High Rollers. Early in the first quarter, the Rockets forced a fumble after sacking Steamrollers quarterback Jace Jones at midfield. A pair of Steel High scores in the second quarter ended the suspense, with the Steamrollers taking a 28-0 lead into halftime. Chambersburg took on Carlisle, and Chambersburg took on Carlisle and beat them 28-13. The Trojans won their second in a row to improve to 3-4, 2-4 in the Mid-Penn Commonwealth. The winless Thundering Herd scored the first touchdown of the game, but Chambersburg answered with an 8-yard score from Antonio Harrison. He caught a 1-yard pass to give the Trojans a 14-7 halftime lead and notched his third touchdown of the night on a 57-yard scoring run, and Amari Watson added a 41-yard run for the final margin. The Trojans now sit at number 11 in the District 6A power rankings, just outside the cutoff. Shippensburg took on Gettysburg 35-7. The Greyhounds' undefeated season continues. Jane Statham scored 3 times for Shippensburg, now 7-0 and 6-0 in the Mid-Penn Keystone. Shippensburg sits at number 2 in the District 5A power rankings, sandwiched between also undefeated New Oxford, sitting at number 1, and Mechanicsburg at number 3. Mifflin County took on Waynesboro. Mifflin County coming out on top, 20-14. The Indians, 4-3, entered the night at number 7 in the District 6A power rankings. The top 10 teams qualify for the postseason. And last but not least, Milton Hershey beat Greencastle Antrim 30-29 in a nail-biter. The Blue Devils dropped to 1-6 after Week 7's close loss. Here are your Week 5 scores from around the NFL according to ESPN. The Falcons took on the Buccaneers. 36-30, the Falcons came out on top to give them their third win of the season. The Washington Commanders beat the Browns 34-13, improving them to 4-1 and 2-0 at home. The Vikings beat the Jets 23-17, improving the Vikings to 5-0, still an undefeated season. The Bears beat the Panthers 36-10. The Bengals took on the Ravens, and the Ravens came out the winner in overtime, 41-38. The Dolphins took on the Patriots, coming out victorious, 15-10. The Jaguars beat the Colts, 37-34, giving them their first win of the season. And the Texans took on the Bills. The Texans came out on top, 23-20, with Stephon Diggs getting some redemption for his old team. The Broncos also beat the Raiders 34-18, making them 3-2. The 49ers lost a close one to the Arizona Cardinals, 24-23. The Packers defeated the Rams 24-19. The Giants came away victorious against the Seahawks in Seattle, 29-20. And last night on Sunday Night Football, the Cowboys ended up winning on a 4th and goal drive, 20-17, beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. Hey, I'm Andy with the Coach's Corner, and we have Ryan Myers, the athletic director of Smithsburg High School, with me here today. Ryan, you and I go back.
We do. Williamsport High School, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think we even played a little bit of Little League together.
Yeah, goes back to halfway Little League as well, yeah.
Yeah, if you live in the Washington County area, most likely you play sports with one of the Myers kids. So
That's right, yeah, that's right.
I had the privilege of playing with two. So how you doing today?
I'm doing well,
Good.
It's a nice Thursday morning, but doing well.
Good. So I just want to touch on your background here before we get started. Recently, you were named the Maryland State Athletic Director of the Year. Congratulations. That's for 2024, correct?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That's awesome. So just to give people a little bit of a rundown, this award recognizes the athletic director who's significantly impacted the lives of students, and they use athletics to achieve progress in social and cultural environment community, which is awesome. From what I gather, just researching you before we talk today, you are very involved in your community, which is awesome. And obviously why you won the award. But you've been there since 2018 at Smithsburg. And before that, South High from 2016 to 2018. What else do you have on your agenda? How do you find time to do anything?
So actually, it's one of the cliches that so what I've done, followed Mike Tesla when I was at South Hagerstown. He was the AD at South for decades. And then coming out to Smithsburg, I replaced another longstanding AD in Teresa Bagel. And they both had the same approach that every day when they came in, it was like a puzzle and you had to figure it out. At the time, I was like, yeah, that's a nice little metaphor. Sure, that's cute, sounds nice, but they weren't misspoken, they weren't lying. It's definitely every day is a new day. Not to sound cliche, but there's usually something that can come up, and any good late schedule or plan usually goes out the window about 9 a.m.
That doesn't take long.
No.
I talked to a few of the other athletic directors before as well, and they've said the exact same thing. Every day is different, and it's never the same, and that's one of the reasons they love it. Just a little bit more of your background. You graduated from Ohio State University.
Not Ohio State. So I did my undergrad. I did my undergrad at Mount St. Mary's.
Okay.
Majored in secondary education, minored in history, and that's what I started teaching. And then I went back to Ohio University.
University. Okay, I read that wrong. My apologies.
No,
still cool. Still awesome.
Yeah,
still an awesome college.
I was actually in the middle of coaching boys soccer at South. I was working with Mr. Tesla, kind of like shadowing him, interning him with him as an athletic director. And I came across an advertisement for the Master's in Athletic Administration program through Ohio University. And it seemed like a good fit. It was a blended program. I got to spend a little bit of time actually on property out in Athens in Ohio. And it definitely shaped a lot of the way that I approach the job now as an AD at Smithsburg.
Awesome. So you said you coached a little bit with Mike Tesla for the soccer team, the boys soccer team in South. Have you done any other coaching?
I've coached in youth.
Okay.
So when I came up to Smithsburg as an AD, and again, given the demands and the requirements of the job, my son wanted to play flag football, so we joined Smithsburg Youth Athletics since it wasn't a districted situation. So I was able to coach some flag football as an assistant out here in the Smithsburg community, which was there's a lot of positives to it, not only because I got to coach my son and be a part of that early development into a sport that he still enjoys, but also it gave me a chance to be out in the community in Smithsburg, not in the athletic director role, but still see a lot of, we had high school students that were our referees, a lot of parents of high school students that had younger athletes. So it was another way to interact with the community as well.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I just started coaching. I've coached my daughter for maybe 2 years at Hagerstown Area Youth Soccer League. And when I first started, my thought is, I'm just going to coach soccer. I'm going to teach these kids how to play soccer. It's so much more than that. Within 1 year, I think they recruited me onto the board. And of course I said yes. So I'm like, now I got all this other stuff going on. And I'm just like, wow, it's cool though. It really is a community thing. And it's awesome that you got to do that with your son.
Yep.
So when you started at Smithsburg, the we're going to go through the school sports here.
Sure.
You started around the time the girls soccer team started to make a state run. Is that correct?
Yeah. So actually, my first year at Smithsburg, it was we. There's been a lot of success.
Yeah.
It's built into the Smithsburg community and athletics. But my first year, the girls soccer team made it to the state final. The girls basketball team made it to the state final, and
Oh,
then the
wow.
boys lacrosse team made it to the state final in spring. So it was definitely, um, it was a roller coaster of a year. It was acclimating to a new school,
Yeah.
getting to know all the new students that were in the building that I was at, and transitioning from a city school to a rural school, all of those things. But then getting to experience state runs across three different sports, it was pretty surreal.
Did you write them all thank you notes for making you look good?
Yeah. So that's actually one of the things too that, and my experience in South, both as a teacher, coach, and then as an AD as well. Um, so just real quick, like one of the last things that we did at South, it's actually my current track and field coach now,
Mhm.
the Coach Freeman, who's the AD at South now,
Mhm.
and Adam Marie, one of the coaching staff that won the 3A state title for the boys track and field team at South. And I remember, I think it was the school's fourth state title, and we're at end of the year banquet. We're in the gym, and I just remember the state title being up there. We're at the front table. I look over and I see Coach Rudy. Coach Freeman had another obligation that he had to attend to, but Coach Rudy's up there, and the way that he's looking at this state trophy was just, it meant so much to him as
Yeah.
a coach, to the kids, to the community, because it just doesn't happen very often
Right.
at South. And that's nothing more than, they're a big school. They're in 3A. When you get out of Western Maryland, you're going up against the Damascuses of the world, the
Yeah.
Linganore. I mean, it's a pretty tough slate to get anywhere in the state. So then I come to Smithsburg, and I think we're up to like 68 state championships. Like
Yeah. You
there's a
guys got
lot
a
of
lot.
success here,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like it's one of those things that, they're nice, and it's always a great experience to be a part of
Yeah.
those things. But I don't play a part. I organize and I
Right.
oversee and I support and we market and I try to get things out
Yeah.
there as best I can. But it is a true testament to the coaches and the kids that we have in this community that
Yeah.
have that success.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, I know the boys soccer team right now is having kind of a rough start to the year, but
Hmm.
from what I hear, they're pretty resilient. They're pretty scrappy. So I know they're going to be doing better as well. And the football team, I actually spoke with David Miller a couple weeks ago, maybe, and we
Hmm.
talked about his team. And we were talking about him rebuilding his team this year, and they're switching offensive styles, kind of
Hmm.
a reset and a rebuild because he hasn't been there too long coaching. I know a year or so maybe as the head
I
coach. I
think this
forgot.
is year three as a head coach, and then he
Yeah,
spent a
three.
couple
Yep.
years under as an assistant
Yeah,
to our previous head coach.
yeah, but yeah, you're. I just remember So we're friends on Facebook, so I just remember
Hmm.
seeing all of your soccer girls soccer posts for Smithsburg and how excited you were and just to be able to experience that. That was really cool to see.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, a lot of other great sports at Smithsburg too. You guys have a pretty decent tennis team. Um,
Hmm.
the Don't forget about the cheerleading team. That's a sport
Yeah.
too.
Yep, it is. It is.
So take us through. I know your days are always different, but what are your
Mm-hmm.
main duties and responsibilities as the athletic director there at Smithsburg?
So one of my administrators a few years ago here at Smithsburg, he was very very blunt but very honest, and he said, I know you make your money at night, and it might not sound like a lot to somebody that's, I guess, familiar with education, because you think of education as bell to bell and during the day.
Yeah,
But I mean, one of the biggest parts of the job is to oversee and manage events and games that are on property that we host. But then during the day, it's more getting ready for those events at night, but then also supporting teachers in the building with student athletes that are in their classes, supporting the admin team when needed. Some days we're shorthanded, some days we have them that are out just kind of helping and stepping in
yeah,
when they can, when we need to. But it really is like, I go back to that puzzle reference. I mean, if there was situations that happened the night before, coming in and cleaning those up, if we had an away game, getting transportation ready,
yeah,
the boxes ready, just kind of all the things that go into putting on an event.
Yeah.
That's the biggest priority. And then after that, just kind of helping out where you're needed.
Awesome. So I know some of your other accomplishments. You're part of the MPSSAA 1A West boys basketball region
Mm-hmm.
director. There, you're
Yep.
the girls soccer region director for 1A West, and
Yep.
you're a member of the MPSSAA state soccer committee. And that's just a few things. So,
Yeah.
what are your goals for the rest of 2024 into 2025?
So it's funny you mentioned that because when I was named the state AD of the year last year, it's not something that that was a goal of mine. Like, hey, I really want to be the state AD of the year.
Yeah.
So it very much underlined, I guess, the honor that it was to be named that because it was by my peers, it was by the state. So it kind of made me, it kind of pushed me to reflect on like where I wanted to go in the position. So I mean, looking at this year. It's our second year with our new turf stadium, so we're kind of settling in,
Yeah.
so to speak, into how that looks for us now. Our boosters are looking at getting the second part of that phase starting as soon as we can. So that's one of the bigger goals that we have as a community. Personally, as an AD, I'd like to get more involved at the state level. The work that I do with the girls soccer state committee and the basketball committee, getting a voice from Western Maryland down to the metro area, to the state.
Yeah.
So that way, not only do we have a voice up here in Western Maryland, but also just being a friendly face. Like when you're at the state soccer finals, for example, at Loyola,
Yeah.
and you work with these coaches all season long, and then when you see, I think last year, Allegheny came down for the boys state final.
Yeah.
So seeing their coach, seeing their AD, it's one of those things that kind of brings everybody together from the state, but also representing this part of the state where there is a lot of success and there's a lot of talent, but may not get as much publicity as your Montgomery County schools, your Baltimore
Yeah.
City schools, things like that.
That's what we're trying to change.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I appreciate that.
So my final question for you is, how do you think those Commanders are doing?
So look, I don't know if this will make the cut, but I mean, this is
I
the
know you're a
office
big
right now.
fan.
So
Yep.
yeah, no, I'll be honest. Every year
It's a
I
roller
mean,
coaster.
it is, and every year you get into the summer, and it's like, hey, we're 0-0, and here's the schedule, and here's what we can think. So
Yeah.
I'll be completely honest with you, Andy. It's 3-1 sitting. It feels pretty good right now, and but I'll be honest, it was the Monday night game against Cincinnati, and I had soccer games and volleyball games that night. And I'll be honest, traditionally, in my role as an AD, if the Commanders football team Redskins played a primetime game, I typically didn't have to rush home to watch it because they were already out of it. So I get home and I see that they're winning, and I'm like, "Whoa, I got to stay up and watch this."
What I
And
miss?
yeah, and so it's been fun. I definitely am week to week. Jaden Daniels looks like he looks good.
Yeah, you better
I'm
knock on
happy.
wood.
Yeah, no, it's and I know it's going to add to the chorus of Commanders fans around the Metro and DMV area, but new ownership feels great. New
Yeah.
general manager feels great. The team looks like they're hungry and they're playing again. It's just, I saw Matthew McConaughey tweet. It feels like springtime in the district, and it's like, wow, okay, so we're actually getting
Yeah.
back into mainstream again. So it's just nice to be
Yeah.
a part of the conversation in October. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Agreed. I'm always, like you said, as a Washington fan, Redskins or Commanders, whatever they may be, you're always waiting. You're always waiting for the falling hill of the roller coaster. Like the ride up is fun, but you're like, I know the fall's coming, and I'm prepared. But I don't know. I don't think if they do this year, I don't think it would be as big of a hill to fall down.
No, I
I
think
think they're definitely going in the right direction. Yeah.
things look good right now for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, Ryan, it's been a pleasure. I know you're a busy man. I'll let you get back to it. Thank you so much
Appreciate
for hanging
it.
out today.
Absolutely. Thanks, Andy.
Of course. Hey, I'm Andy with 92.1 The GOAT, and I have Mike Marsh here, the athletic director at Boonsboro High School in Washington County. Pleasure to have you, Mike.
Thank you for having me on today.
First of all, I love your shirt.
Oh, the Redskins / Commanders.
Yeah.
Big win last night.
There you go.
Yeah.
Big win last night, and I was pleasantly surprised. Not what I was expecting.
No doubt. Yeah, they played. I'm not sure they played better than they are, but they are definitely playing well right now. That's for sure.
Yes, agreed. Have you been a Washington fan
all your life?
I grew up a Colts fan, but I married into a Redskins family, so
Gotcha.
And obviously have a few other connections to the Commanders. My son-in-law happens to work for them. He's in charge of the stadium. Actually,
Cool.
He's the vice president in charge of operations. So
wow, that's
I got a
awesome.
pretty good connection there. So
Yeah, you do.
yeah, so pretty cool.
That's very, very cool. So how did you come to the position of the athletic director at Boonsboro High School?
I was very fortunate. I've been a lifelong teacher. I was a science teacher for over 39 years, and actually, I was kind of getting to the end of my career there. I coached love sports, 78 different seasons of sports between football, basketball, baseball, and a variety of other things. And Sue Lowry, who I preceded, she's my predecessor, she set up a great system here in the last 10 years, and she decided to retire, and I was fortunate enough to get the job. And again, it's actually my dream job. I've been looking forward to doing something like this my entire career, and now I have an opportunity to do so. It's pretty cool. I can't ask for a better way to end my career in education besides being an athletic director, especially here at Boonsboro. I grew up in Western Maryland, in Westernport out past Cumberland, and the school I went to now is part of Mountain Ridge. It was Bruce back then, and it's the same school, Blue Bee, and it was like they're the same kind of community, a small town community with like this community school, and that's what Boonsboro is. I kind of fit in, I think, just because I really understand how the community operates. So.
Right. How long have you been the athletic director at Boonsboro High School?
I'm in my third month of my second year.
Oh,
I've
still brand new.
Yes, very brand new. Yes.
Awesome. So you said you coached before you taught. Like, did you coach like volunteer coach?
No, I was a head coach in football, basketball, and then I assisted in football, basketball. I was assistant college coach for 4 years at Potomac State. Coached in Kaiser, at Musselman, down in Sharando and below Winchester, and then at South for 2 years, and then now I'm doing this job. So.
I think that's where I recognize your name from. Did you coached the basketball team?
Girls basketball team.
Girls basketball team. Okay.
Yep.
What year was that in?
It would have been four years ago and 3 years ago. So
okay.
COVID, right at the COVID year and the post-COVID year, and then the next year. Yes.
Gotcha. I think that's where I've seen your name from before, because when we first connected, I thought, man, his name looks really familiar. Yes. So, give us a little bit of your background growing up. Did you play sports? What were you into?
Yes, I played football, basketball, and baseball at Bruce. Again, back then, in the 70s when I went to high school, everybody tried to play all the sports. So I was a football, basketball, baseball player. So.
Was football your favorite?
Yeah. I played college football for 4 seasons, two at Washington
awesome.
Lee and 2 at Frostburg State. Yes.
What position did you play?
Quarterback in high school, quarterback in college first 2 years at Washington Lee. When I came to Frostburg, they had a younger guy than me that was they liked, so I ended up moving to wide receiver for 1 year and defensive back for 1 year. So
awesome. Can you still sling it?
I throw okay. I can throw with the boys still now and then. Yeah.
Awesome. That's very cool. So you mentioned your teaching career. You used to teach at one of my old middle schools, Springfield Middle School. Is that right?
Yeah, I did.
That's where you were the science teacher, right?
That was my 1 year in middle school. That was.
Yeah,
I tell you what, that was a challenging year. That's why I'm here.
Did you do any coaching through middle school? I know sometimes they have recreational sports
that
there.
Year, I kind of decided just to teach and just see how middle school went for a year. So I just took that year and just kind of stepped back from it and see what I really wanted to do. And again, like I said, things just worked out that I had the opportunity became open here, and I was able to come over to Boonsboro.
That's what they always say. Things will work out like they're supposed to work out.
Yes.
So your fall sports lineup at Boonsboro High School, you have football, soccer, cheerleading, golf, tennis, cross country, and there's a new sport this season as well, correct?
Flag football, and that's been a really popular sport for us, yes.
I've heard, yes. I've seen lots of talk about the girls' flag football team, and it's pretty entertaining from what I've seen. I've seen some clips of videos, circulating through social media and stuff like that. And are there any changes we can expect coming up in the next couple years like that? Are there going to be any?
Right now, there's a plateau of teams that has to be added statewide for them to become a sanctioned sport. But I think that'll happen next year. It sounds like it's another. Now that it's us, Frederick County, Montgomery County, Baltimore City schools. I think that's everybody. But we're close to that plateau number now. So I think with the popularity of the sport going and a few more counties joining next year, there'll be enough
That's awesome.
that it'll be a sanctioned sport. I don't know if you mentioned volleyball. We also have volleyball.
Volleyball. I did leave volleyball out. My apologies. Yes. And you guys have a pretty good volleyball team.
Yeah, they're doing real well right now.
Yeah.
All of our sports are really, again, we have a few teams that are struggling a little bit, but they, like our boys soccer team broke into the win column last night, so that was a big win for them over Smithsburg. So, our teams are doing well. We have a large number of athletes, over 250 athletes right now out of our school that are participating in sports. So,
That's great. It's good to see kids get involved in sports. I love it.
Yep.
So Boonsboro, when I went to high school, Boonsboro is actually our rival. I'm not sure if it's still that way or not. I went to Williamsport.
Oh, yeah, it's between us. Williamsport,
Is it still there?
Smithsburg and Boonsboro. It's pretty much, it's just kind of a three-way rivalry there. Yeah.
I played soccer all 4 years, and our Boonsboro game was always the big one.
Yeah.
Most people would show up for it, and it was always fun.
I think that's the way it is. Again, both
Yeah.
Williamsport and Smithsburg, no matter what, whoever's playing between those three teams, the crowds are big. The intensity is a little bit higher than
Just a little higher,
just a
yeah.
little tuned up, yeah. So it's pretty exciting.
You guys also had a Class 2A, 1A state champion in wrestling
Yes.
in 2024, Tanner Halling.
Halling, yes, he's
That's
I
gotta
think
be
he's a
awesome.
two-time
That's
state champion actually. So yeah.
Oh, great! Wow. Okay.
He might even be three. I know it's at least 2-time state champion. He's
Congratulations.
He's pretty fun to watch. He's quite skilled at the sport, and he's just and that's just what he does. He's just very good.
Yeah. Awesome. So you also have a Washington County winter cheerleading title at Boonsboro too,
Yes. Yeah, our
and cheerleading is officially a sport
Yes, it is.
as of a year ago.
A couple years
ago. Yeah, and I know that's kind of intense too. Cheerleading can be intense.
I mean, their practices are they're very athletic young ladies. You think sideline cheer from even 20 years ago is completely different today than it was then. It just they've changed so much, and the girls had to be incredibly athletic. They're gymnasts with cheerleading uniforms on. Basically.
Right.
They can tumble and do all kinds of acrobatics, and it's pretty cool to watch. Yeah.
A high school wouldn't be possible without athletic boosters. Boonsboro High School athletic boosters. Give us a little bit of background about how you guys work, what you guys do to raise money, what that money's used for.
Our booster group is called BABI, Boonsboro Area Boosters Incorporated, Boonsboro Athletic Boosters Incorporated. Quick story: the first time when I was in my interview, they kept on talking about this person named Babby. I was wondering who the heck Babby was, but it ended up being our boosters. And I tell you, they're great. The team that leads them is incredibly active. They keep us going with uniforms and with supplies that the kids need that we don't have, can't afford with our athletic budget, or just that some extra things that they want, the perks that the teams want. But the leadership's great. They do several different fundraisers. We have our concessions at all of our big games. They do an indoor concession for all the indoor sports, and then they also have at the Friday night varsity football games. They have the concessions shared with the band there. They have a variety of different. I'm trying to think of what's the bonanza. Yeah, they have a bonanza in the spring, and it's a really big event. Plus, they have other events throughout the year. But their goal is to basically make sure our athletes look good in uniforms, and also at the same time they're well cared for. And so again, they work hand in hand with me. Again, if I have questions or needs, and they've been really actually, along with my predecessor Sue Lowry, they've been really helpful in helping me learn the Boonsboro way. Because no matter what, there's so much tradition in this community. I mean, it's just tons of tradition, and BABI is one of the groups that really continues and makes sure that tradition continues to happen. And I go to them all the time about questions about hey, what's this time of year, what happens, and make sure that I'm maintaining the traditions that are real important to the community.
That's awesome. That's nice to have them as a support pillar in your career as well. And the Boonsboro Athletic Boosters, you can sign up to be part of it. Now, do you have to have a child that plays sports in Boonsboro High or goes to Boonsboro High?
There's a benefit to it if you do have a child, because there are scholarships available and things like that. But again, there's a discount for attending games if you remember. But also, again, the membership they're the ones who work behind the scenes to make sure that all the supplies are here. If they have a fundraiser, that all the stations are manned and things like that. And there's a really good, strong core of leadership, but also there's a lot of parents who get involved simply because, and it's seasonal. As we have kids join, maybe winter sports, we'll have additional families come in. But then again, we have people who just join because they want to be part of the organization and help out.
That's great. So my next question for you is, what are your goals for the rest of 2024 and going into 2025?
Personal goals here are just to make sure that everything runs smooth. Make sure the transportation's right. Make sure, just learning. I'm still learning. This was my first year where I actually did all the scheduling. Again, when I came in last year, a lot of that was already done. It has to be. It's usually a year, almost a year in advance. So I was responsible for all that. Again, just make sure that we have, our venues are in good shape and things like that. Like right now, as soon as I'm done today, I'm heading down and putting lines on the football field because the rain keeps on washing away.
There you go.
So gotta get them ready because we had to move our game to Thursday night this week because of official shortages. So instead of playing on Friday night, so I got one less day to get things ready. And unlike Smithsburg and North, who have turf fields, which hopefully at some point in the near future we do, it takes a little time to get football field looking good.
Yeah, you'll get there. You'll get there. I have confidence in you. Boonsboro is a great school. And with the recent, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm learning too. Again, I'm learning the community. When I come in here, I usually am just I do it myself type of person, but I've learned to ask for help. And again, there's a lot of people out there that are willing to give me a hand doing about anything. So I just need to I'm finding those people now. That's kind of like once I get that network of people kind of developed, I'll be even better off and have a little less time committed to some things so I can get other things done.
Right. It never hurts to ask.
That's for sure.
Here are your Washington County, Maryland football scores from this past weekend, courtesy of the Herald Mail. Boonsboro took down Williamsport 35-14. Parker DeBall of Boonsboro had 3 touchdown runs. Russell Collier ran for a pair of scores, and the visiting Warriors improved to 4-1 with a win over Williamsport 3-2. North Hagerstown took down Smithsburg 34-7, and the Hubs ground down the Leopards, who are now 0-5, with their running game to give first-year head coach Nathan Butts his first victory. Smithsburg recovered North's onside kickoff to start the game and marched 55 yards on the strength of 3 completions from Carter Nesbitt to Alex Bakedel. The third one covered 24 yards to the end zone for a 7-0 lead less than 3 minutes into the game. But then the Hubs took over from there. Their offensive line consistently opened holes for all of their running backs. North finished with 322 rushing yards. Amari Murray and Chris Benford each had an interception for the Hubs. Thomas Johnson beat South Hagerstown in a overtime thriller where Randy Embry threw a 6-yard touchdown pass to Jamar Turpin in overtime to give the Patriots 2-3 a walk-off win over the host, the South Hagerstown Rebels, now 1-4. South broke a scoreless tie late in the third quarter as Michael Owens Jr. passed to Kahari Alford for a 40-yard touchdown. Thomas Johnson then returned the ensuing kickoff to the end zone to tie the game and took over from there. Albert Gallatin 41, Clear Spring 21. The Blazers, now 3-2, suffered their second straight loss, falling on the road to the Colonials, who are now 4-3 of Uniontown, Pennsylvania. For Clear Spring, Hayden Hodge threw 2 touchdown passes and went 3 for 3 on extra point kicks. Joseph Torres and Will Bennett each had a touchdown catch, and Alex Matthews ran for 1 score. Clay Battle took on Hancock, came out 35-13, and Aiden McCarty rushed for a touchdown and threw a touchdown pass to Sean Thomas for the visiting Panthers, who are now 1-4, and their loss to the Seabees, now 2-3. Here are your Franklin County, Pennsylvania football scores from this past weekend, courtesy of the Public Opinion. The James Buchanan Rockets lost their second straight game Friday, 55-0 to the Steel High Rollers. Early in the first quarter, the Rockets forced a fumble after sacking Steamrollers quarterback Jace Jones at midfield. A pair of Steel High scores in the second quarter and ended the suspense, with the Steamrollers taking a 28-0 lead into halftime. Chambersburg took on Carlisle, and Chambersburg took on Carlisle and beat them 28-13. The Trojans won their second in a row to improve to 3-4, 2-4 in the Med-Penn Commonwealth. The winless Thundering Herd scored the first touchdown of the game, but Chambersburg answered with an 8-yard score from Antonio Harrison. He caught a 1-yard pass to give the Trojans a 14-7 halftime lead and notched his third touchdown of the night on a 57-yard scoring run, and Amari Watson added a 41-yard run for the final margin. The Trojans now sit at number 11 in the District 6A power rankings, just outside the cutoff. Shippensburg took on Gettysburg 35-7. The Greyhounds' undefeated season continues. Jane Statham scored 3 times for Shippensburg, now 7-0 and 6-0 in the Mid-Penn Keystone. Shippensburg sits at number 2 in the District 5A power rankings, sandwiched between also undefeated New Oxford, sitting at number 1, and Mechanicsburg at number 3. Mifflin County took on Waynesboro. Mifflin County coming out on top, 20-14. The Indians 4-3 entered the night at number 7 in the District 6A power rankings. The top 10 teams qualify for the postseason. And last but not least, Milton Hershey beat Greencastle Antrim 30-29 in a nail-biter. The Blue Devils dropped to 1-6 after Week 7's close loss. Here are your Week 5 scores from around the NFL according to ESPN. The Falcons took on the Buccaneers. 36-30, the Falcons came out on top to give them their 3rd win of the season. The Washington Commanders beat the Browns 34-13, improving them to 4-1 and 2-0 at home. The Vikings beat the Jets 23-17, improving the Vikings to 5-0, still an undefeated season. The Bears beat the Panthers 36-10. The Bengals took on the Ravens, and the Ravens came out the winner in overtime, 41-38. The Dolphins took on the Patriots, coming out victorious 15-10. The Jaguars beat the Colts 37-34, giving them their 1st win of the season. And the Texans took on the Bills. The Texans came out on top 23-20, with Stephon Diggs getting some redemption for his old team. The Broncos also beat the Raiders 34-18, making them 3-2. The 49ers lost a close one to the Arizona Cardinals 24-23. The Packers defeated the Rams 24-19. The Giants came away victorious against the Seahawks in Seattle 29-20. And last night on Sunday Night Football, the Cowboys ended up winning on a 4th and goal drive 20-17, beating the Pittsburgh Steelers.
If you'd like to be featured on the Coach's Corner with Andy, email coach at 921thegoat.com.